Good morning, everyone. I'm Celine. I am from VERA, a small media nonprofit in the Philippines, which specializes in fact-checking and in-depth reporting. So we're not a newsroom that publishes breaking news. Okay, so let me start with a story. Meet Mark, a government speechwriter in Manila. Part of his job is to vet organizations that request a message of support from his institution. So one day last August, he was asked to vet this institution. Initially, it looked like it was legit. It had a clean website. Based on a Google search, there were not red flags that he found. But at that same time, he was beta testing Seek, our AI chatbot built on VERA's reporting. And what happened when he ran that institution's name on Seek, it found a connection between the institution and a Filipino pastor who is wanted by the FBI for child sex trafficking. So in the end, his office decided not to endorse that institution upon further verification of Seek's findings. So for us at VERA this was, a revelation to us that, how powerful good reporting can be if only people could find our stories. So Seek is a conversational search engine built on over 5,000 fact checks, fact sheets, and reports published by VERA since 2008. It is built for students, for teachers, for disinformation researchers, and my personal favorite, the family fact checkers. That one person in your family who's always fact checking everything for everyone else at family dinners or at group chats. But when we beta tested Seek, we also discovered new markets for our chatbot. Speechwriters like Mark, facilitators of disinformation workshops who need to localize their trainings for Filipinos, and campus journalists. So let me show you how Seek works. So it's powered by a framework called RAG, or Retrieval Augmented Generation. So let's say you ask a question about, tell me about the global scam problem. What Seek would do is that first it would look through our database of reporting, and then it augments or it pulls the most relevant insights from multiple reports. And then it generates a clear, concise answer with citations to every story that it used for that answer. When we beta tested Seek with 77 people across the Philippines, the UK, Kenya, and Australia, 82% said that they would recommend Seek for friends, for family members, and for colleagues. VERA has 17 years of journalism and counting. But the problem that we have is that people can't always find our stories. Our stories get buried by algorithms, and we have tried what every other newsroom has done, improve SEO, boost social media, try new formats. But this continues to be a work in progress for us. And so this year we decided, why not try to build an AI-powered chatbot in order to help people like Mark, the speechwriter, find crucial information that might otherwise stay buried. So since we're in England, I'd like to spill some tea or 3 lessons we've learned from building Seek. First is that we realized the chatbot market is not oversaturated as we initially thought, if you're able to find your niche or if you're able to build for context. So during our user research phase, one of our interviewees said, AI has a bias for white male contexts. And so the tool that VERA Files develops needs to be grounded or needs to understand Filipino context. And that is exactly Seek's expertise. Seek is grounded on Philippine reporting. So when we spoke with Mark, he said, compared with ChatGPT, Seek performs much better when it comes to Philippine sources. A disinformation researcher from Australia has also reached out, expressing the value that he finds in Seek because he is able to localize his workshops for Filipino audiences when he needs to look for examples based in the Philippines. Next is that we learned that when developing chatbots, a key rule of thumb is transparency, transparency, and more transparency. Our users repeatedly told us that if your chatbot doesn't know something, just admit it and hopefully lead us to another source. And so we built in transparency when we developed Seek. Transparency about sources, hence the citations list. Transparency about the project and who funded it. It was part of the JournalismAI Innovation Challenge. And transparency about Seek's limitations and potential for error. Because what we learned is that transparency builds trust, but pretending to know everything destroys that trust. Lastly, building Seek for us as a small newsroom was hard, continues to be hard as we maintain it today, but it is so worth it. Our mantra for developing Seek was we want to prioritize progress over perfection. Seek was built with a small team of journalists and a couple of developers. We had no particular product development expertise or no AI expertise when we began. When we also tested Seek for accuracy and for groundedness of answers and the relevancy of its contexts, it scored 0.71 on a scale of 0 to 1, which means it is good, but it's not perfect. But for us, that is okay, because every tweak that we make to Seek, every lesson that we learned from every iteration of Seek, brings us closer to the version of Seek we wanted to become, rather than, waiting for perfection before we even launch something. So to end, for me, I've always believed that our archives are our superpower. Everyone here, every newsroom here has stories that could prevent disasters, prevent harm, prevent important institutions from endorsing the wrong people. But sometimes they're hiding in our archives. Sometimes people can't see them, especially in the first, second, or even third pages of their Google search, for example. So if our audiences are already using AI to look for answers, then perhaps that is the space where we need to meet them next. So we are launching Seek to the public at the end of the month on November 30. And our goal is to make facts impossible to miss. That ends my presentation. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you so much, Celine. Thank you. Up next, we have Kelly Tidwell, the CEO of the Verified News Network, all the way from North America.
Hide over here. Morning, I'm Kelly Tidwell. I'm a Muscovy citizen and have Cherokee lineage, so Native American slide. So we built the Lyle. It's a Native American Indian country chatbot focused on for our local indigenous people, both for them as well as for folks who have questions about us. Like a lot of times you'll see folks that don't have, they'll be nervous to ask questions for cultural respect. They won't come up and ask certain things, but this is an avenue for people to talk about those items, to dig for information on well, what's going on, because there is a lot of this misinformation in our territory. Our local government doesn't really see eye to eye with the tribes so much, so there is continuous purposeful misinformation put out, and one of our goals with Lyle is to stop that as much as we could. Try to have him where he can answer questions about either treaties that are going on or just general questions of what's happening in the territory. So Lyle was culturally informed. It's our indigenous-focused perspective. Same note as before, as you brought out. It's we wanted to have a native presence because it's not really where we are. It's not there. It's a typically white, male-dominated newsroom. So this is a way for the native population to be more engaged with those folks and to have someone that's like them speaking about what they want to hear about. When we launched, we had some good and bad conversations. I should say bad, challenging conversations with folks. Data centers are notoriously energy hungry. A lot of our communities said they didn't like that. There was also a big worry that of data sovereignty. So they were afraid we'd come in, get information, and just jump out like it's historically happened before. So we've been in this community for 6 years now, so we built a trust with folks. So they weren't super concerned about that. And at the same time, they're concerned with, well, there's APIs we can tag in the data if your data ever gets leaked, but we're very close sourced with everything. The environmental costs, again, was one of the big points we had to cover. So I had to do a lot of digging to figure out how much comparatively from a watt standpoint comes out for chatbot information. So just fun facts there. So what makes Lao unique is it's culturally informed, it's verified information, it's connected to the community. It's very much community-based. We made a specific, we didn't take the whole world of data. We didn't take like a ChatGPT has data for everything. Lyle is very specific on what he's trained on. Before we trained that information, we went out and got explicit permission from the folks, so we had their blessing to continue on and take the information in. Same as before, it's not, we don't want to give out bad information. We'll have the same comment of, we don't know. Lyle will respond, he doesn't know, he's not sure. If he's unsure of a question, he won't give just a random hallucination. Built some safeguards in place, so it's, for the questions that he couldn't answer, we created a process with the team that's, they're queued up, they're brought in to where a human can actually go in there and research them, provide a correct answer, and then if it's ever popped up again, he'll be able to respond properly. Closed source is one of the key things. Native focus on media. It was the media industry isn't huge right now, let alone from a native perspective. So we've got to a very, very small niche. So it's very important for us to maintain both data sovereignty as well as get the right information out for future generations, because there is more people coming. So Lyle is live, so if you want to use him, he's out there on our website. Crosswinds, I published this earlier. We just rebranded. So we went as Verified News Network 4 weeks ago, rebranded to Crosswinds. So you'll see double language there. Yeah, he's live. He's a living tool, rooted in indigenous values of community stewardship, knowledge sharing. You guys can use them, interact with them. He learns. We have folks, if he doesn't have the answer, we get it and find it, and it'll be learned eventually. Thank you all for coming today.
Thank you so much, Kelly. Loving the name, Crosswinds. Very cool. Up next, we have Chukwudi Iwuoha from the International Center for Investigative Reporting, all the way from Nigeria. Welcome.
All right, good morning all. My name is Chukwudi. I work with the ICAR, International Center for Investigative Reporting. It's a non-profit media organization that promotes transparency and accountability. So over time, we have been asking ourselves, what impacts can AI have on the world of journalists, researchers, and hard of hearing community? Over time, we have been thinking of what to do about our newsroom, and then we had the call from JournalismAI, and then it inspired us to try something new. So we ask ourselves about our work. Now we look at our journalists in our newsrooms. Most of them spend time transcribing the visuals manually. But we now ask ourselves, what if the journalist can just have a click and then transcribe his work without having to do manual transcription? Now we look at the first picture there. The first picture represents our journalist before the native AI for newsroom. And the second picture represents our journalists transcribed with native AI for newsroom. Now, what does the native AI do? Native AI bridge gap between the sounds and letters. The hard of hearing community should also be respected. We say because everyone matters, the deaf and hard of hearing community can be part of every conversation. So native AI also try to bridge the gap between sounds and texts. Language should never be a barrier in communication. Now, Nigeria has over 500 languages, a collection of culture and voices, but yet some of the speakers of these languages don't have the opportunity to listen to our leaders speak, don't have opportunity to also interact with us. So we now say to ourselves, what if we can have a tool that can transcribe audiovisuals and then translate it into a language that they understand? What is native AI for newsrooms? Native AI for newsroom is an AI-driven model that transcribes audiovisual, that's English content, into text, and then translate the text into 3 major Nigerian languages, the Hausa, the Igbo, and the Yoruba. It empowers Nigerian journalists through AI-enhanced transcription and translations. Now, what's the genesis of it? It was born from challenges of newsroom researchers and inclusion. Why the native AI? Journalists struggle daily with time-consuming transcription and translation. Researchers losing sight of translation. The deaf and hard of hearing community misses out on critical information. Newsrooms pay extra for manual transcription, like I said. Earlier before now, our newsroom do hire extra hands to do transcription and translation because we do a lot of fact-checkings. Native AI was created to change that, to make information accessible for all and to enhance newsroom processes. What did we do? We taught AI to listen like a Nigerian and to appreciate diversity. Now, the accent of a Nigerian is quite different from that of an Englishman. So we needed something that can understand, that can listen like a Nigerian. And so we built the native AI, which understands our accents quite well. If I speak to a tool, it transcribes exactly what I say. Meanwhile, some other tools may not get some of my intonations, so they provide error in that. How do we do it? Speech to text. We use a modern speech recognition model and fine-tuned it for Nigerian accents. And then we use multilingual translation model adapted to Nigerian languages. Special attention was given to code switching and Yoruba and Igbo diacritics to ensure that meanings are not lost. What we offer, a smart solution for smart storytelling. Transcribe audiovisual content into text automatically, translates text into Igbo, Hausa, and Yoruba, telling stories in languages that we understand, understands the Nigerian accents, trained on local voices, inclusion, empowers the deaf and hard of hearing community, saves journalists hours of manual work. Achievements, we claim time for research and storytelling. Now, instead of a journalist to spend hours on transcription after his interviews, we have recovered some of the time that he used for transcription by providing a platform that he could automatically transcribe and translate his work. For educators, it also supports multilingual learning, no more spending endless time on translation. For the deaf and hard of hearing community, it opens access to audiovisual content, empowering them to key into stories that matter within minutes. Looking to the future and lessons learned, the native AI has potential to connect languages across Nigeria and Africa. Nigeria has over 500 languages. Now we're looking at the future whereby each of these languages will have a voice, a representation within the native AI, not just the 3 languages. It's a future project. Native AI could be integrated into virtual meeting platforms and other media platforms. Native AI could be trained to transcribe audiovisual content in African native languages, not just the English. So we're looking at the future whereby content in local languages could also be transcribed. Native AI could be trained to transcribe live events. That was one of our initial plans, to be able to transcribe live events, but we have not gotten there yet. We'll see on the process. Native AI is more than technology, it is a connection, inclusive technology that connects humans, not just data. Join us in making every voice heard. It is the website, visit the platform, https://nativeai.icrnigeria.org. For newsrooms in Africa, experiment with us by integrating native AI into your workflow. Share your feedback on how we can improve the model for greater efficiency. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chukwudi, for the fascinating presentation. Last but not least, I'd like to invite Diana Khanafer from Receive 22, all the way from Lebanon. Welcome.
Hello, thank you everyone. It's such a pleasure to be here. My name is Diana Khanafer. I'm from Lebanon. I work as a program coordinator at Receive 22. Okay. And today you're going to be meeting someone who's very special and sweet and sassy, but she's not judgmental. It's going to be Auntie, our AI-powered chatbot. Sorry, by the way, my asthma is acting up. So excuse the pauses and all the breathing. Okay, so for those who don't know us, Receive 22 is an independent Arab media platform. We're founded in 2013 in the wake of the Arab Spring. We cover all 22 Arab countries in addition to diaspora. Okay, so how did it all start? When we first looked at our data, we saw that almost 30% of our organic traffic on the website came from SRHR articles. That was a bit eye-opening because we thought people had enough of that content in the Arab world, but apparently no. There was still a lot of stigma and taboos surrounding that. Sorry. Okay, this is Auntie. Auntie is an Egyptian fictional 57-year-old khala, as we call her. She's present in every Arab household. She's very sharp and sassy and elegant. And she speaks in everyday Egyptian Arabic, which was a very intentional choice of dialect. She also helps provide reliable rights-based information about anything that tackles SRHR. And she draws her answers from our own article database in addition to the database of Masarana Network, which is a network of SRHR organizations. Okay, sorry. All right, so how did the process go? At first, we ended up mapping almost 1,000, if not more, articles from our own database in addition to the content from the Masarana partners. And then we embarked on the design phase, which is building the persona, the character and personality, in addition to setting an editorial Bible for Auntie. For the text setup, we had a bit of an issue there because we started with like Delphi, and then they told us, no, you can't have an avatar of a fictional character. This is not like good for us, so we jumped to custom GPT. It also gives us more control with like Arabic, and it's better with Arabic NLP. And then we ended up training it very rigorously, like we'd create make-believe scenarios and just ask it anything our readers might have in mind. And eventually we ended up launching it this Friday, in fact, both on the app and the website. And I'm gonna talk in a bit about the future prospects of it. Okay. For the ethics of Auntie, we have a very clear ethical guideline. If she doesn't know something, she says so. She's not a machine that seeks perfection, and she doesn't claim it at all. That's what makes her more human, let's call it, because people who talk about SRHR, they're seeking a very intimate and safe space. They don't want to feel like they're talking just to another GPT chatbot. Also, we have very clear boundaries in terms of data storage. We don't store any data. We don't track the IP address of users. And in terms of review, sorry about that. The knowledge base is checked on a monthly basis in case there's like any outdated information, biased language, etc. And as mentioned, there's no personal data tracking. So it's supposed to be a GIF showing you how like Auntie is in action. But pretty much like as a user, you can type down your question or like use press on any of these like preset questions to help you. And what we learned during developing Ask Auntie, first of all, the issue of creating the personality and the dialect was a bit tough for us. We also didn't want the Egyptian to be very niche that not everyone can understand. There's that. And the rest were like the classical AI issues, the hallucinations, mismatch between the database and the answers, sometimes giving very inadequate answers or like just going all wacko with the hallucinations. It happened a lot. And we also had the issue of gender assumptions. The chatbot would assume the gender of the user, or like if the user told the chatbot about their name, it would forget it in like after 2 answers maybe. And what's next? So we just launched on Friday, and we have in mind setting up voice integration for Auntie so she can speak in different dialects in Arabic. We're also planning on integrating her into WhatsApp and Telegram, but this is still murky waters for us because of the whole privacy issue and storing the data on meta servers and all of that. Thank you.